Welcome to the House Ag and Natural Resource Budget Committee. The first hearing of the State Bank Commissioner budget is up first. And Jennifer.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Jennifer Light. I'm a fiscal analyst for KLRD. In the audience is Barb Albright from the agency, and then Commissioner Herndon is online on WebEx. Barb will be giving, Ms. Albright will be giving testimony after me. The Office of the State Bank Commissioner ensures that the integrity of regulated providers of financial services through responsible and proactive oversight while protecting and educating consumers. I'm sorry, this is the Office of the State Bank Commissioner. The next several pages are overview. If you turn to page 590, that'll be the beginning of the fiscal year 2023 analysis. Top of page 590 is the summary budget request. The agency submits a fiscal year 2023 revised estimate of $13.0 million, all from special revenue funds. This is an increase of just under $300,000. The fiscal year 2023 revised estimate includes a supplemental request to provide merit-based staff salary increases. The agency has historically reported having issues retaining staff due in part to wage competition with the private sector, as well as with the adjoining states. The supplemental increase includes an addition of just under $57,000. It also includes a supplemental request for board member per diem increases. The agency has also had historically reported having issues recruiting for the state banking board due to the low per diem rate. The supplemental request is for an additional $12,420. The agency's per diem is currently $35 per meeting attended, and the supplemental request is for $150 per meeting attended. There is more information on per diem compensation, our special topic, underneath this budget analysis. The agency at the top of page 591 also requests 2 additional specialized examiners. The 2.0 FTE positions would be IT examiners and would conduct IT exams for banks to check for risks and exposures in cybersecurity. The agency requests just under $160,000 for these 2 positions. There's also several increases for travel-related expenditures. Resumption of in-person training and in-person portions of examinations are included in the revised estimate. The agency requests 112 FTE positions in fiscal year 23. This is an increase of the 2.0 FTE positions for the purposes of adding 2 IT examiners, as explained earlier. In the middle of page 591, the governor recommends $12.7 million, all from special revenue funds. The governor's recommendation does not include the staff salary adjustments or the board member per diem increases. It does include a partial adoption of the 2 additional staff. So the governor recommends just under $40,000 for a partial year funding for the 2 FTE positions in fiscal year 23. The governor also recommends a decrease of just over $70,000 in contractual services.
Hold on, I have a question.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm reading on page 591, and it says the governor's recommendation includes the following adjustments. Oh, then she does not recommend. I apologize. You were going so fast I couldn't keep up with you. Thank you.
I apologize for that.
You're doing a good job.
Okay. So the governor's recommendation does not include the staff salary adjustments or the board member per diem, but does include a partial funding for the 2 additional staff. And that is just under $40,000. The governor recommends a decrease of just over $70,000 in contractual services, and the governor's recommendation also includes 112.0 FTE positions. I can stand for questions on fiscal year 23, or I can move on to fiscal year 24.
And all these dollars are fee dollars, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And would you help me to know how the fees are according to the dollars they have in need? Is it a good balance for what we're trying to do?
So if you look on page 588, that has the bank commissioner's fee fund expenditures for fiscal year 20 through 25, as well as the bank's total assets and assessment rates with their current fees. On the top of page 589 also has their current fees for licensing. So the current fees are listed on page 588 and 589 in their fee fund account. Fiscal year 2022, they had 11.7 million in revenue. They had 10.8 million in expenditures and an ending balance of 4.3 million. So, and then the governor's recommendations also include a anticipated balance with those as well.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
Any questions, anybody? Cool. Anybody? Continue on.
Okay. Top of page 593 is fiscal year 2024. The agency requests 13.0 million, all from special revenue funds for fiscal year 24. This is an increase of just over $65,000 above the fiscal year 2023 revised estimate. Their request includes an enhancement request to continue to provide the merit-based salaries that they requested in 23. The enhancement request includes a decrease of $251 below what they're asking for in fiscal year 23, for a total enhancement request of $56,717. This is to continue the not to do supplementals on top of. So they also request the board member per diem continuation. The agency does not request any additional money above the request of $12,400 or $420. It'd just be a continuation of $12,420 in fiscal year 24 as well. As well as their request to continue the 2.0 FTE positions requested in fiscal year 23. The two additional salary is a decrease of just over $700 for a total fiscal year 2024 enhancement request of just over $158,000. The fiscal year 2024 request also includes an increase of just over $66,000, all in special revenue funds. This is due to increases in salaries and wages and contractual services. Top of page 594 breaks out the salaries and wages and contractual services. Salaries and wages is due to an increase in group health insurance offset by a decrease in employer contributions to CAPERS. And contractual services is due to increases in other contractual services, job-related training and conference registration, dues, memberships, and subscriptions in the agency's names, software rental, and it's offset by a decrease in subsistence. The agency requests 112 FTE positions for fiscal year 24, which is the same as what they requested in fiscal year 23. In the middle of page 594, the governor recommends 13.0 million, all from special revenue funds. It's a decrease of just under $70,000. The governor's recommendation does not include the staff salary or the board member per diem continuations, but it does include the agency's request to continue the 2.0 FTEs in fiscal year 2024. The governor's recommendation includes the 112 FTE positions, which is the same as what the agency requested. Be happy to stand for questions in 24 or move on to 25.
Committee representative.
Thank you. Very good job. Just a real quick question. As we've went through a lot of budgets in different government agencies, and it seems like the governor's request for 5% salary increases for a whole bunch of other agencies. Why is there no salary increases for this here agencies?
So the governor's 5.0 request is across the board and is not seen or reflected in any of the agencies' budgets that you're seeing right now. That's done through, I do not know which budget that is through, but it is done through one specific budget and that's taken care of that way as an overall 5%, and then it's broken out. This does not include the governor's 5.0% increase request.
I guess that was my question, because the other agencies were all tax funded. So she's going to increase the taxes on the taxpayers, but on fee services where the money's there that they pay into that, I would think that would be an easier tax. Just asking, but I think you answered that for me.
As to why the governor did not choose to do it, I cannot speak for the governor's office, but I can tell you that the 5% that she is discussing is in a different budget that will be discussed in front of the budget committee.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Let's head to 25.
Okay, 2025 is on page 595. The agency requests 12.9 million, all from special revenue funds. This is the decrease of just over $90,000. It includes the enhancement request to continue to provide those merit-based salary increases that they asked for in 23, as well as the board member per diem. It also includes the enhancement request for the 2 additional salary. The request for fiscal year 25 for the 2 FTE positions is a decrease of just under $1,500 for a total fiscal year 2025 request of just over $157,000. The agency also includes a decrease of just over $88,000, mainly attributable to decreases in salaries and wages, offset by increases in contractual services and capital outlay. The top of page 596, you can see the breakout for salaries and wages is mainly due to a decrease in employer contributions for both health benefits and other fringe benefits. The increase in contractual services is mainly attributable to an increase in other contractual services, job-related training and conference registration, subsistence, tickets for out-of-state travel, and duties memberships and subscriptions. Finally, the increase in capital outlay is mainly attributable to an increase in non-capital information processing equipment and other furniture and expenses, offset by a decrease in non-capital computer hardware and software equipment. The agency requests 112 FTEs in fiscal year 2025, which is the same as what they've requested the previous 2 years. In the middle of page 596, the governor recommends $12.9 million, all from special revenue funds. This is a decrease of just over $68,000. The governor does not recommend the staff salary increases or the board member per diems, but does recommend the agency's request for the additional 2 FTE IT examiner positions. The request in fiscal year 23 is just over $157,000. Governor's recommendation also includes the 112 FTE positions, which is the same as what the agency requests. I'd be happy to stand for questions on 25 or anything else.
Committee, any questions on 25? Representative.
The 2 FTE positions begin in 22, 23?
The 2 FTE positions request begins in 23, and then basically 24 and 25 are a continuation request. It's just that the salaries change slightly due to the cost indices for.
So it's the same 2.
Yes, it is not additional.
Not 2 each year.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Good job. Next up is Barbara Albright. Is she coming in on WebEx? Is she here? Welcome, Barbara.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman Corbett and members of the Budget Committee. My name is Barb Albright, and I am the Director of Finance and Administration with the Bank Commissioner's Office. Also in attendance virtually today is Bank Commissioner Herndon. And we appreciate the opportunity to appear before you to answer any questions you may have about our budget. Jennifer did a really nice job introducing us. There was a little bit more of an overview I thought I'd give. I think several are new this year compared to last couple of years I've presented. So the OSBC is responsible for regulating state chartered banks, trust companies, technology-enabled fiduciary financial institutions, also known as TEFIs, mortgage companies, consumer credit providers, and money transmitters. So our agency has 5 departments within the OSBC: banking, consumer mortgage lending, a legal department, administration, and information technology. As was discussed before, we are a self-supporting agency and we do not require any state funds. And we actually do remit $100,000 annually to the state general fund out of our fees. So, as Jennifer mentioned, we do have 3 enhancements that we have requested: the board member fees, merit increases, and the 2 additional IT examiners. So that is all I really had, but I would be happy to answer any questions.
One of the questions I'd have, it follows through this. If you feel that you need them and you're paying for them, you're out of your own fees, why is the governor so adamantly against your enhancements?
Well, the board member fees, I'll speak to it first. It is a statute and it does affect any board member agency. I know there was a special committee joint this summer, interim committee, and I believe that's going to come out of that discussion. Those that were on the committee, it was introduced in appropriations last week, I believe. So, or there was a committee report. The merit increases, you know, we continue to ask. We do struggle, as everyone does, retaining employees, private sector, our federal partners. It feels like sometimes we get them trained up and then they do get pulled in or taken by the private sector or our federal partners. So that's why we had asked for some merit increases to get the market levels up to surrounding states and or, yeah, I mean, we'll never be able to compete with the federal market and we understand that, but surrounding states and stuff. So we have worked with Department of Administration and presented some data to them on that. And the last is the IT examiners. This one is crucial just with the cybersecurity. So we actually have a department that is specific to examinations for consumer mortgage lending and banks. And they're specialized skill sets that we need to in order to protect, you know, our consumers and the banks and any non-depository regulatory guidance we give.
Anybody any questions? So I guess I'm just, are you happy with the governor's recommendations, or do you have any, just where are you at on this? I can't really tell where you're,
Well, I mean, we would be happy to have the merit increases that we feel like we can give because we are fee funded. And we haven't raised fees the last few years. So our banks have not had to absorb any additional cost. We hear from them all the time that they don't like having different examiners constantly and training them every time they come into their banks. And
are you all going on site now instead of just virtual? Are you actually traveling to places to examine?
we are hybrid. So obviously any problem banks we are definitely in. But we do some of the examination now off site because as everyone else, COVID, we learned we can do partials, but exit exams, we go on site, we're face to face with the bankers. Consumer mortgage lending, we will travel out of state if we need to do on-site exams as well.
How many board members do you have?
Oh, you're testing me now. 9.
Mr. Chairman, may I please, this is David Herndon. I apologize for not being there in person, but may I add to Barbara's answer to that? We have 9 directors that are appointed by the governor. 6 of the directors are bankers, 3 represent the public. There is a requirement that the board directors be geographically diverse, representing each congressional district, as well as a balance of political parties.
Thank you. So after that, how many of those people would have to be or need to be increased to 150? All of them?
Yes, everyone is. It's a statute, so everyone is at $35.
Yeah, that's okay. Any question, Representative?
I'm just trying to understand how that works, Mr. Chairman. So since the per diem is set by statute, that has to be changed, correct? Just us having an enhancement in there does not get it done. Is that correct?
That is correct. If you would approve adding that enhancement in, if the statute does get changed, then that allows us to give those increases without taking from our operating, if you will. If you choose not to do the enhancement, then I'm not sure if that would be added in later or not. If the statute doesn't change, we cannot increase those fees. Does that help explain that a little bit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. That explains it. So appreciate it.
Representative?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is this 150, well, 115, but $150, is that for all 112 persons?
No,
Or is that
that's just the board member fees.
Okay.
No, it's just 9 people.
Follow up a little bit. How often would you be calling a meeting where this would come into play?
We meet monthly.
So it'd be monthly. Okay. Representative.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What is that statute? Do you know off the top?
I'm going to defer to Jennifer here.
So the statutes for the board member per diem are listed under the special topic, but it is KSA 75.3223 and 75.3212. And 75.3223 is provides that when a law directs compensation for a board member, the compensation shall be $35 for each day of actual attendance.
Jennifer, do you have any idea what year that was?
I do not have that right here, but I can look it up for you with no problem.
I'm sure it's been a while back.
I believe it's the 1970s.
They were good years.
Mr. Chairman, this is Commissioner Herndon again, and Barbara is correct. The fees have not changed since the late 1970s. I think it was 1977.
Thank you. Committee, any questions? You gonna let her off this easy?
If I may, just one more.
But you're fine. That's what we're here for.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On page 588, at the bottom where we talk about these fees, I noticed where it says current fee and then statutory limit, there isn't any. So why do you believe, or what was the reasoning behind not putting a cap? Do you know why that would?
I honestly cannot answer that question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. So,
Maybe we should do this tomorrow instead of today. Maybe we should do it tomorrow instead of today. I know that.
Representative,
We just talked about.
On page 590, it says that the per diem rate has not changed since 1974. So they're asking for $12,400, I believe, for that.
so committee, we're gonna finish working this tomorrow,
We'll work it tomorrow.
and we'll close the hearing on this today and finish it up tomorrow. The next hearing is on the Department of Credit Union's budget, and Jennifer, you're up again.
Good afternoon again. I have Julie Murray, the administrator. The administrator for the Kansas Department of Credit Unions in the committee room as well.
Okay.
The mission of the Kansas Department of Credit Unions is to protect Kansas citizens from undue. The mission of the Kansas Department of Credit Unions is to protect Kansas citizens from undue risk by ensuring safe and sound operation of state-chartered credit unions. There are 50 state-chartered credit unions and 1 corporate credit union in Kansas under the agency's supervision. The 2022 legislature approved a budget of $1.3 million, all from the credit union fee fund, and 12.0 FTE for the Kansas Department of Credit Unions in fiscal year 2023. If you turn to page 658, that will begin a more in-depth analysis. Top of page 658 is the summary of the budget request for fiscal year 23. The agency requests the revised estimate of $1.3 million, all from the Credit Union Fee Fund and expenditures in fiscal year 2023. The agency's overall budget amount does not change. However, there are several shifts in the categories, including the following. The salaries and wages section includes an additional just over $44,000. This is due to an effort to retain experienced staff and for additional money to pay temporary employees while looking to fill FTE positions. In contractual services, the agency's estimate reduces the amount by just over $51,000. This is due to less travel than what was previously expected to occur in fiscal year 23. And in capital outlay, the agency includes a budgeted expenditure of replacing a vehicle in its fleet during fiscal year 23. This is an increase of $30,000, which is partially offset by a decrease in funds requested for office furniture and computer equipment. The total increase in capital outlay for fiscal year 24 is just over $10,000. The agency also includes 12.0 FTE positions, which is the same as what was approved by the 22 legislature. And the governor concurs with the agency's fiscal year 2023 revised estimate. Be happy to stand for questions on fiscal year 23 or go on to 24.
Any questions?
If you turn to page 660, that begins fiscal year 24. The agency requests $1.3 million, all from the Credit Union Fee Fund and expenditures for fiscal year 24. This is an increase of just over $1,000. The increase includes an agency's estimate for an addition of just over $44,000 for salaries and wages expenditures. This increase is due to merit-based increases in salary. And then the agency's estimate also reduces the amount requested for fiscal year 24 by just under $44,000. This is mainly due to a reduction in classified temporary employee wages as a result of not having any temporary employees in fiscal year 24. The estimate includes 12.0 FTEs, which is the same as fiscal year 2023's approved number. The middle of the page, the governor's recommendation, the governor recommends $1.3 million. This is a decrease of just under $45,000, and it's because the governor's recommendation does not include the agency's enhancement request for the merit-based salary increases. The estimate includes 12.0 FTE positions, which is the same as the agency's request for 24. Top of page 661 is fiscal year 2025. The agency requests $1.3 million, all from the Credit Union Fee Fund for fiscal year 25. This is an overall increase of just over $4,000. The agency's fiscal year 2025 request includes the addition of just over $47,000 to continue the merit-based increases that they asked for in fiscal year 2024. The agency's fiscal year 2025 request, this is an overall increase of just under $2,000 above what they requested in 24. So it's a $2,000 difference for the agency's request to continue those merit-based increases between 24 and 25. The agency's fiscal year 25 request reduces the amount requested in other expenditures by just over $42,000. This is due to reduction in employer contributions to CAPERS and planning to have all those FTE positions filled. The estimate includes 12.0 FTE. Middle of the page, governor recommends $1.3 million. This is a decrease of the just under $47,000, and that is because the governor's recommendation does not include the agency's request for the merit-based salary increases. The governor's recommendation does include 12.0 FTE positions, which is the same as the agency's request. And with that, I'd be happy to stand for questions in 25 or for any of the other years.
Committee, any questions for 25? Thank you. Good job.
Thank you.
Next up is Julie.
Hello. I actually don't have any testimony for you today. I'm just here for any questions that you might have. We have a small budget. It's pretty simple, so I didn't prepare anything special.
One of the questions I'll have for you is on the 46,536 that the governor doesn't want you to have. Can you tell me, of that 46,000, how many employees would that merit dollars be shared on?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear you.
So on, I may be asking this wrong. 661's good. It's on all of them. You're asking for 46,536 for merit-based increases. And the question to you is, of that dollars, how many employees would that be showered upon?
I'm thinking 6. I have 6 that have worked exceptionally hard in the last year and a half due to our short staffing, and have excelled actually. So I'm thinking that those parties are deserving.
That's half of your workforce.
Mhm.
So
It's my examine team,
yeah,
the ones that are out trying to do the work.
and you're fee funded and you have the
Mhm.
money to
Mhm.
cover it. So, committee, any questions? Good job, Julie. Thank you. Any questions before we? If not, this will close the hearing on the credit unions. So just do those. Just want to do those tomorrow. Okay. So tomorrow it's KDHE. So bring lots of questions. Thank you. We're adjourned. We're adjourned.